Stephen Fidler, you wrote a column. It's interesting because you wrote a column that kind of assumed the Greek deal was done, and you were looking past that. But now it seems like we can't assume a Greek deal is done, can we?
Yeah, I think that's true. We can't. I think it's more likely than not still that it's going to be done. I think there are a lot of people peeling away in the Greek parliament because the Eurozone finance ministers said last night that they're not going to agree on the bailout until the parliament passes all these measures, austerity measures, cuts in the minimum wage and that kind of thing. And they want that to happen before they'll finally sign off on the deal. So we've seen people peeling away, Greek MPs peeling away, one party peeling away from the ruling coalition. But I still think the calculus is probably for greater than 50% that the deal will be passed in the Greek Parliament. But it's it's kind of a little hairier, if you like, than we thought it was going to be.
Yeah, go ahead, John. Jump in.
I was just going to say, we've been seeing some video from Athens this morning with protesters and hearing about the strikes there. How much is there a lot of a broad participation in terms of the population in their negative reaction to the austerity, or is this just a small minority that can be overcome by the leaders' decisions here?
Well, I think there's this is really unpopular. A lot of people who thought their futures were set now find that they're not. People who retirees and people with pensions, seeing them cut. A lot of people in the middle classes having their standards of living affected, and a lot of civil servants losing their jobs. So it is very broad unpopularity, I think, and there's not really much prospect for anything better down the road. So austerity this year, another fifth year of recession in Greece this year. To think this stuff is going to be popular it's crazy. The thing is, is it going to be? Would it be worse if you defaulted, left the Eurozone and that kind of thing? And increasingly, Greek politicians are talking about this as the ruling party anyway, talking about this as the kind of decision they're taking now in voting on this bailout.
Yeah, I got to ask you this too, Stephen. I think I asked you this before. In my own sort of twisted, cynical, Machiavellian worldview, it seems to me that Greece is kind of being nudged out the door here without anybody saying we're nudging them out the door. Yesterday, I didn't hear anything about this stipulation that these rules had to get through Parliament until yesterday, after the Greeks come to them and say, oh my God, we finally got you a plan. They say, well, we want to see it go through Parliament. Am I wrong about this, or does it seem like Greece is kind of being insulted enough that they'll finally say we've had enough?
Well, I think there's been a huge erosion of trust, with Greece. The Germans, the Dutch, the others are, really mistrustful of the Greeks. I think they're very frustrated that these negotiations went down to the wire yesterday, that a deal couldn't be done before then. Then it puts the whole, debt restructuring timetable under pressure. So there's huge frustration. I think if you talk to individual Germans and in the government and that kind of thing privately, some of them would probably tell you that they wouldn't mind if Greece left the Eurozone. And I think there's sort of, you can look at this cynically in a way that this deal is really to get Greece and to get the Eurozone, at least till the second half of this year, when if there were to be an exit, and of course a debt problem doesn't necessarily mean an exit from the Eurozone, but if there were to be a Greek exit from the Eurozone, they could put the pieces in place to stop that having really bad knock-on effects. So
related to that, Stephen, real quickly, you noted in your piece that it seems like the perceived costs of Greece leaving the Eurozone have been moderating. Can you give us a quick glimpse of where that's manifesting?
Well, in several places. Not least in the financial system. ING Bank in the Netherlands yesterday, I think, said it had sort of written down its Greek debt, sort of written 80 cents off the dollar, off the euro, on the Greek debt, and French banks have gone down 70 to 75 cents. They've written off. So the financial system is in a lot better shape to deal with Greece per se. And then there's probably more confidence that with the sort of, if you like, the bad boy out of the picture, the sort of the other economies that are suffering, Portugal and that Ireland, that are actually keeping to their programs, there'll be much more German support and much more support from the rest of the Eurozone for sort of making big efforts to keep them in. So I think that's the framework that people are thinking in.